All right.
We discipline our crew because we want them to be in tip-top shape. We don't want them to be like lollygagging and stuff. We want them to be, like, working hard.
We want them to understand the consequences.
That's why we whip them.
When you go into the life, there's going to be lots of consequences that come.
If we don't give them a consequence, they're going to think it's okay to do it again.
If the captain lets the crew have more rights, then the crew might take over the ship and it might get out of hand. The crew wouldn't be directed, then if the captain had less power, it might affect how much work they get done and how much money we'll make.
If the captain had less power, the crew might not be working as much and think the captain is just another one of the crew and he can't boss them around.
The crew couldn't give disciplines for people to do
The crew
But keep going.
the crew, the ship, the crew wouldn't be direct. If the crew wouldn't be directed if the captain had less power.
So
The ship would be a mess if the captain had less power because the captain probably wouldn't have the right to boss the crew around and tell them to clean it up. So the crew wouldn't care. They'd probably just be having a party on the deck all the time.
yeah, and the ship might not
Party
be,
out at sea.
and the ship
You
might
guys have to listen to them.
end up not being as valuable for us, and we might not have as much money as we did before when the captain had all this power. And say, when they come back, our ship is wrecked. That's bad for the sailors because we're not going to pay them as much because we got to take some of their money out to repair our ship.
Because the captain couldn't keep them under control because he didn't have enough power.
Okay, so why did you hire these specific captains that you have?
We trained them, and we took our captain because he was a strong guy, and we could trust him. We knew that he will boss people around, but we need him to. We need somebody that's pretty bossy.
We need him to keep the crew in order.
Because say he might pick a bad crew. Maybe he needs to boss them around because they may just be out going around, and so we need somebody a little more bossy than just like a guy who's just like, whatever.
I might as well agree with you, but I'm not saying it now, that you need bossy, like not super bossy, but you need captains that are going to be on task, but I really don't think that it's a great idea to just, and I understand with the consequences that there will be consequences if you don't do it right, or whatever you're telling them to do, but I think it's bad that you guys are tying people to posts and whipping them. And what makes you think that's a good thing?
Well, we're not like whipping them all the time. Just if they do something really bad that we think they need a really bad consequence for.
Yeah.
We don't whip them if they just tie a knot wrong and stuff. We whip them if they do something. If they do something really bad.
Yeah, we make sure we have captains that aren't like afraid to whip the crew, but know when to stop and stuff.
And we wouldn't hire a captain who doesn't like help the crew as much, and we wouldn't hire one that just sits whistling and driving the boat. Yeah, if we hired captains who didn't give the crew consequences, yeah, then that would be really dumb because
It would get chaotic.
yeah, we're smart enough to know that if we're gonna hire a good captain, it's gotta be a captain that's gonna give the crew consequences.
We need a captain that's going to do a lot of work and not sit around steering a boat while whistling. He's going to do work too.
And whipping is not the worst consequence. We could make them lose a job. We could
Throw them
overboard if we really wanted to. The captain has those
whip
rights.
them instead.
But
So.
we whip them because it is a bad punishment. I agree. I don't want to get whipped. But so say they don't clean. Okay? We whip them. But they don't clean again. They got to learn their lesson. Say we don't do anything and they don't clean again. They don't just keep doing it. Our ship is not going to be good. They're not going to be learning good. We're trying to teach them for life. When things come, you got to do it. You can't just stop and just go around.
As we said
And be
before,
as lazy.
it helps them understand that there are consequences for doing things wrong.
We don't whip them if they do something wrong the first time. We should tell them, and then if they do it again, we whip them. We need to let them know the first time. If they think it's okay, we give them a really bad consequence.
But if say
Or if they
we
do
just
something
throw
really
them
bad the first
overboard,
time.
we don't do that. We whip them. I know it's bad, but we could take their life if we really needed to.
Or
Throw them into the ocean.
or something.
You can do a lot of horrible things.
Wait, so Sam?
Yeah, really.
Last question, Naval Review Board.
At the beginning, you guys said that we only do it if they do something really bad. Is really bad to you guys asking a question?
Well, we didn't say that we wanted that captain to do that. We didn't.
Captains do that. We understand. We don't try to have them. But
When we hire captains that end up being like that
We could
we
hire them.
we
can-
might not hire them again.
yeah, we have complete control
We don't
of
want
who
captains like
who
that.
is the captain on a certain ship.
But
And we can change who becomes the captain if we really want to and we think it's best.
say they do ask a question and we do whip them, it is pretty harsh.
We would fire that captain.
Yeah.
Why don't you?
But it's
Sounds good. Thank you, guys. We're going to have our last group in a minute.